Paris Hilton has been a pop culture fixture for more than 2 decades. To some, she's a hotel heiress turned reality star who personified the early 2000s with her catchphrase "That's hot." To others, she's a businesswoman, DJ and influencer who helped shape the age of celebrity branding. But behind the designer handbags, paparazzi flashes, and nightclub photos is a far more complex story. One marked by struggle, reinvention, and personal tragedy. This video aims to uncover the truth behind the persona, exploring Paris Hilton's rise, fall, reinvention, and the battle she fought away from the cameras. What you'll uncover here is a deeper, more emotional journey, her silent battles, misunderstood fame, personal evolution, and the profound impact of her voice in advocacy today. We will look beyond the pink-glossed lenses of fame and uncover the reality of a woman whose story is not only sensational but deeply human. Paris Hilton was born on February 17, 1981, in New York City. She was the first of 4 children in the Hilton family, heirs to the Hilton Hotels empire. Her childhood was marked by privilege, lavish homes, elite schools, and red carpet appearances from a young age. Yet even in her youth, there were signs that Paris was different. She had charisma, rebellion, and an insatiable appetite for the spotlight. But life under scrutiny wasn't always easy. Growing up in a family with a well-known last name came with strict expectations, intense pressure, and very little privacy. As a teenager, Paris's life began to spiral out of control. She was sent to a series of boarding schools for troubled teens, including the infamous Provo Canyon School in Utah. What appeared to the outside world as routine disciplinary measures masked a much darker reality. In her 2020, she revealed that she was subjected to verbal abuse, forced medication, and solitary confinement. The experience haunted her for years. It wasn't just a rebellious teen phase, it was a traumatic chapter that would define much of her adult life. In the early 2000s, Paris catapulted into fame not because of her wealth, but because of her image. She became the queen of tabloid culture. Paparazzi followed her every move. Her sex tape leak in 2003, while deeply traumatic, ironically catapulted her into superstardom. Shortly after, she starred in The Simple Life with Nicole Richie, a reality show that played up her dumb blonde persona. It was a smash hit and turned her into a household name. But few realized that the dumb blonde act was just that, an act. Behind her bubbly persona, Paris was deeply unhappy. She has since spoken about the disconnect between her public image and her real self. While the media saw a party girl, she was quietly building a brand empire, launching fragrances, fashion lines, and eventually, a DJ career. But the emotional toll of constantly performing took its toll. She suffered from insomnia, anxiety, and recurring nightmares, remnants of the trauma she experienced as a teen. Fame became a double-edged sword. It brought validation but also prolonged her suffering. Paris's romantic relationships were often public, messy, and painful. Engagements to Greek shipping heirs and high-profile breakups were splashed across tabloids. She yearned for love and stability but struggled to find partners who could see past the persona. In interviews, she admitted to feeling used and misunderstood by men who were more interested in the brand than the woman. This pattern of superficial relationships left deep emotional scars. In the late 2010s, Paris began to shift the narrative. She stepped away from her ditzy character and began to show the world who she really was. Her 2020 documentary was a major turning point, revealing her intelligence, work ethic, and the unhealed trauma she carried. The film received critical acclaim and sparked a national conversation about abuse in troubled teen programs. For the first time, Paris wasn't just being watched, she was being heard. Paris didn't stop at just sharing her story. She became an advocate for reform, testifying before lawmakers and pushing for legislation to regulate abusive behavioral modification facilities for teens. Her courage inspired many others to speak out. This new role as an activist gave Paris a deeper sense of purpose. She wasn't just fighting for herself, she was fighting for countless others who had suffered in silence. Today, Paris Hilton is experiencing a renaissance. No longer just a celebrity for celebrity's sake, she is now recognized as a business mogul, activist, wife, and mother. She married Carter Ream in 2021 and welcomed a child via surrogate, embracing motherhood with openness and joy. Her brand has matured, but her influence remains undeniable. She continues to shape fashion, pop culture, and digital media. And she does so with a depth and authenticity that was long hidden behind a mask. Paris Hilton has proven herself to be a savvy entrepreneur. With over 19 product lines, multiple fragrance launches, and licensing deals, she has turned her name into a global brand. She was one of the first celebrities to fully understand and monetize personal branding in the digital era. Her business empire spans from skincare to fashion to NFTs. Her ability to adapt to market trends while staying relevant is a testament to her strategic thinking. For years, Paris was considered the prototype of the famous for being famous celebrity. But as the years passed, it became clear she was a pioneer of modern fame. From reality TV to influencer culture, many of today's stars follow the blueprint she created. She is now being re-evaluated by critics and scholars as a cultural touchstone, not just a tabloid fixture. Paris has been open about her struggles with PTSD following her time in abusive facilities. She continues to work with therapists and wellness professionals to manage her mental health. Through public speaking, interviews, and her podcast, she encourages others to seek help, breaking the stigma around mental illness, especially for women in the spotlight. Despite a sometimes strained relationship with her parents over their decision to send her to Provo Canyon, Paris has worked on healing those wounds. She remains close with her sister, Nikki Hilton, and takes great pride in being an aunt. Motherhood has transformed her priorities, bringing new meaning and responsibility into her life. Paris was one of the earliest celebrities to embrace the internet. Now, she's taking it a step further by diving into the metaverse and virtual platforms. She launched Paris World, a digital universe where fans can attend events and interact with her avatar. This reinvention signals her constant evolution and tech-forward thinking. Over the years, Paris has dealt with numerous lawsuits, media mischaracterizations, and invasions of privacy. From trademark disputes to suing unauthorized biographers, she's learned to defend her brand legally as well as emotionally. Despite misconceptions, she remains one of the most calculated and business-minded figures in entertainment. Paris Hilton's life spans two cultural generations. She's both a relic of Y2K pop culture and a modern influencer. Her journey reflects the evolution of media, celebrity, and femininity in the 21st century. She has influenced everyone from Kim Kardashian to Gen Z TikTokers, proving that her relevance isn't just historical, it's ongoing. Today, Paris Hilton is reclaiming her name, her story, and her identity. She's no longer just a headline, she's the author of her own narrative. Her journey is one of resilience, reinvention, and redemption. She's teaching the world that you can start as a caricature and emerge as a force. Her past no longer defines her, her choices do. Paris began a new chapter not only as an advocate but as a voice for those long ignored. She created platforms for fellow survivors of institutional abuse, amplifying their stories through social media, podcasts, and public events. Her strength lay not in denying her past, but in exposing it to help others heal. She organized panels, visited Capitol Hill, and became a key player in campaigns that helped bring regulatory changes to youth treatment centers across the United States. Survivors called her an inspiration. For them, she wasn't just a celebrity, she was a leader, someone who understood their pain intimately. Paris Hilton has never rested on her celebrity status alone. In her 40s, she is now investing in startups, mentoring young female entrepreneurs, and exploring the world of philanthropy. She works closely with charities focused on mental health, children's rights, and tech accessibility. Unlike the superficial version of her that tabloids once mocked, this phase of Paris's life is characterized by depth, care, and commitment. She wants her name to stand for more than luxury. It should symbolize strength, evolution, and compassion. In 2023, Paris Hilton became a mother through surrogacy, welcoming a baby boy with her husband, Carter Reum. The experience changed her profoundly. In interviews, she expressed a newfound sense of grounding and purpose. "Everything I do now," she said, "is for my son." Motherhood gave her a fresh lens through which to view the trauma of her own youth. It renewed her passion to protect children from abuse and brought a vulnerability to her public image that was both touching and inspiring. Paris's relationship with Carter Reum stands out as one of the most stable and supportive of her life. Unlike previous romances played out in the spotlight, this union was built on mutual respect and understanding. Carter embraced her full story, the brand, the trauma, and the woman. Their wedding, a star-studded affair in 2021, marked not just a union of two people but a celebration of resilience and new beginnings. In Carter, Paris found not just a partner but an anchor. Over the last decade, a massive cultural shift has taken place. Audiences have begun re-evaluating the treatment of women in media, particularly during the 2000s. Paris Hilton, once mocked and dismissed, has become a symbol of how media misogyny shaped narratives about women. Critics and scholars now cite her as a key figure in the evolution of celebrity feminism. She is recognized not just for her brand-building genius but also for surviving and transcending a media environment that tried to tear her down. Paris has always been ahead of her time when it comes to tech. Now, she is investing in virtual reality, artificial intelligence, and blockchain. Her digital platform Paris World continues to expand, and she's collaborating with tech developers to make it a safe space for self-expression and connection. This phase of her life illustrates how she remains at the forefront of digital innovation, blending her legacy with the future of virtual interaction. Unlike the loud, flashy girl once known for clubbing in stilettos and saying "that's hot," today's Paris Hilton exhibits a more reserved and reflective strength. She still enjoys fashion and public appearances, but now she balances them with yoga, meditation, and journaling. Her quiet strength comes not from dominance but from surviving adversity. She's traded spotlights for self-awareness, fame for fulfillment. And that choice may be her boldest move yet. What really happened to Paris Hilton? The world misunderstood her, underestimated her, and often ridiculed her. But through pain, she discovered her voice. Through ridicule, she found resolve. And through trauma, she ignited transformation. Not just in herself but in culture, business, and advocacy. Paris Hilton has defied expectations every step of the way. Not because she had to, but because she was determined to rewrite her story on her terms. She is more than a punchline. She is more than a brand. She is a survivor, a visionary, and a woman who has finally been able to say, in her own voice. If you were moved by this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to stay updated on more deep dive stories behind the faces we think we know.